Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we will be doing another career mode guides. Please let me know in the comments below if you do like these type of videos. It's Arsenal. They actually won the vote, but I did do the episode before the vote happened, so I did it a little bit late, but we will be making up for that and doing the Arsenal now. Obviously, the first thing you do when you get in a save is decide whether you want to join preseason or not. I always join preseason because it's a little bit of money you can use, but you don't have to join it, and then just choose the easiest one. Luckily for me, the one that was easiest didn't have the least money, so it was like a good decision because I still have a chance of winning it. Obviously, Arsenal in real life do have major problems at the center back position. Their two center backs are pretty high rating, so it's your decision whether you want to keep it realistic or if you want to stick with the center backs you have. You could stick with the 4-2-3-1 where Aubameyang would play on the left, but I think we can all agree on this. Aubameyang's best position is striker, so I've decided to go for the 4-2-2-2, change Pepe's position to right winger, and keep Ceballos as a left attacking mid. So then it's not really completely put together, but you have an attacking mid, two strikers, and a right winger. So it's a little bit different, but I think it will work. After that, I decided to do the instructions. As I said, the instructions are based on the players you have. So Ceballos is an attacking mid, so I think I do want to be playing him on free roam because he's that type of player, especially if Ozil plays there. If Ozil's playing on the left-hand side, please play him on free roam. Pepe, you could put on cut inside, just don't put him on stay wide. I put him on balanced and get him behind. And then Torreira, he has very high stamina, so I feel like Torreira should be that workhorse in the middle of the field, and Guendouzi should sit back and pick out passes. So I put Torreira on get forward and Guendouzi to sit back while attacking. Lacazette and Aubameyang is a very, very good strike partnership, but the way I feel to maximize their stats is to play Lacazette as a false nine, where he will be dropping into the midfield, just like how Firmino plays, for an example. He's basically an attacking midfielder, and Aubameyang will be looking to get in behind the defenders, so I will put him on get in behind. I did put Ceballos on free roam, and now that is the same whether you want Ceballos or Ozil playing there. Ceballos and Ozil will be playing on free roam, mainly because they are those type of players. They're creative midfielders that really just need to free roam in order to open up chances, while Pepe, on the other hand, needs to get in behind with his pace, and he needs to cut inside onto his left foot, or you could put him on balanced, just don't put them on stay wide. Obviously, at Arsenal, one of the biggest problems is their defense, most notably their center backs. So in order to keep it realistic, I do transfer list Mustafi, and you could also take it to another level, transfer listing David Luiz or Socrates, and maybe even both. I also transfer list all the young players that don't really have a part to play, so like Bola, but Willock, he is a young player, but he will have a part to play, so don't transfer list any of the good youngsters. Just transfer listed lower rated youngsters. Obviously, most of this is up to you, and it's your decision whether you want to transfer list some of the lower rated youngsters and replace them with higher rated players. You could transfer list Mavropanos, you could transfer list Zech Medley, but I would keep those players because they do have a decently high potential and could play a part in your team. There is a glitch with youngsters in FIFA. It's mainly because of the big teams, the ones that play for the big teams, because they have such high wages, and the teams that want to sign them are teams that can't really afford those wages. So it's your decision whether you want to try your best to sell them or just wait for their contracts to run out. Another thing that I do suggest to do is set up these scout instructions. I did a striker, but I made sure to make it promising because I don't want someone that's going to come straight into the first team. And then I also did one for center back, right back, and central midfield. So that's just what I do. You can change them according to your needs. As usual, I just skip past the preseason tournament. You can play it if you want, but the preseason tournament doesn't matter much to me. After we finished simulating through the preseason tournament, we got a couple of transfer offers. The most notable ones were Granit Xhaka and Shkodran Mustafi. Chelsea did want to take Shkodran Mustafi, funnily enough. I didn't negotiate them. I just accepted all of them, mainly because this isn't my career. If it was my career, I may negotiate them. Then we did get a transfer offer for Bola, one of the youngsters. Now, it's very hard to sell the youngsters, so most of them do break down. As for the players I would release Matt Macy, Bola, and Luwu, and you can try and sign Danny Ceballos on a permanent after his loan runs out. After that, Skodra Mustafi's deal did get finalized. I didn't have the footage of it, but it did. And then I got a few more transfer offers, one for Shaka because the first one did break down, so I do accept that one as well. There is a quick overview of my shortlist. Now, all of these players that were found were through the scout instructions. You can find other players if you do wait a little bit longer, but right away I realized we didn't have much like actual right backs that fit this style of play. We have Chambers, but he has medium-high work rates, which means he's more of a defensive option. So I go in for Thomas Munier, and I tried to swap Shaka with them. They said that he wasn't the type of player they were looking for. Then I go for Özil, and they accept that straight away. It's a little bit weird how they wouldn't take Shaka at all, but they'd did a straight swap with Özil, which is really rare in FIFA. But I did do the contract negotiations. Now, it doesn't really matter because they are a big team and they have lots of money, especially if you want to keep it realistic. You're not going to spend the entire budget if you are trying to keep it realistic. So just do whatever you need to. It doesn't really matter much. You can do a little bit of negotiating. That's exactly what I did, and we got him in on $85,000 a week. The next player I would sign is Jefferson Lerma. He looks really good in FIFA, and he's a cheap option. He's realistic, so if you want to keep your career modes realistic, this is a good option. If you want to just do it for fun, then you can get someone else in. Negotiating Jefferson Lerma's contract, as I said, we're Arsenal, so it's not that important of how much money you're going to give him because we have tons of money, especially if you're keeping it realistic. Then you're going to have a lot of money left over, so just do whatever works, and that's what happened for me. Obviously, when you do that, you do keep it within boundaries because you can't give him like $1 million a week. I also signed Willy Bolly. Sadly, my game capture did crash during that, but that's just letting you know he's a really, really good option. Willy Bolly, in my opinion, one of the most underrated center backs in the Premier League. Obviously, part of the Wolves team that did qualify for the Europa League under Nuno Espirito Santos. But on other hands, I am going in for Christian Kouame, very fast striker who plays for Genoa, so he looks like a really underrated option. He only wanted a sporadic first-team role, which is perfect because Aubameyang and Lacazette are not going to get replaced unless they are injured. So after we do finalize the Christian Kouame deal, that is going to be our final signing. Now, I have $58 million left in the bank, which I would save for January unless you do want to splash the cash in the summer. What I mean by saving it until January is replace it with someone who is playing not the best, so don't just sign anybody. With that said, this is what my first team and bench would be. Martinelli, you should incorporate Martinelli a lot. He has been playing so well for Arsenal, and it's only realistic to incorporate him in the first team. But after all those transfers, here is my finished transfer window, including all the player sales. So we brought in 4 players who go by the name of Jefferson Lerma, Willy Bolly, Christian Kouame, and then we sold 2 players in Xhaka and Mustafi. Also brought in Thomas Munier, getting rid of Özil in a swap deal. Before we end this video, I do want to show you something real quickly. I highly suggest you to wait a little bit longer than I did with the scouts because they can bring in some better players. But with that said, that will be the end of today's episode. If you did enjoy, please do drop a like, and I will see you in the next episode.